crying little.
Back in October last year, I uploaded my fastest growing video on the channel to date. That video in question was the new generation Puma ST Line, a car I had a serious bone to pick with, and even till this day, it still grinds my gears. Hold on a minute, what's that? Oh no, what have I done? What have Ford done? They've only gone and given me another crack at the whip. Yes, another Puma, guys. But this isn't any old ordinary Puma. No, this isn't an ST line like I had before. This is the new Ford Puma ST. And it's known commonly in my eyes for two things. Well, it's called a Puma for first of all, which leads me on to the second point, is it's not a coupe. But before you hover over that dislike button or comment something very horrible to me, I do agree that this is a great car. Of course, it's based on a Fiesta, so what's not to like about it? The problem is, me being a rational living person, there are a few question marks against it. And no matter how good the car is, it's hard to accept, it really is. But let's give the Puma ST the benefit of the doubt and find out if it's better than the ST line and truly deserves to be called a Puma ST. So it seems the guys at Ford are trying to test me and my comments based on the Puma ST line. Well, it seems that way because they've thrown this Puma over to the guys at the performance division. These are the same nutters that are responsible for building such cars as the Focus RS, yeah, the one that goes sideways everywhere, and that electric racing Mach-E thing that also goes very sideways. Yeah, it seems Ford are taking it very seriously. Best watch my words. For old time's sake, let's start with the exterior. And I hate to report, but there isn't really much that's changed from the ST line, I'm afraid. Yes, you eagle-eyed viewers would have noticed by now a front chin spoiler. That is rumoured to provide some front downforce, alongside with some other styling changes on the outside. Really? We need to look into this in a little bit more detail.
Ah, of course. Silly me. They've changed the exterior trim by making it gloss black, and personally, for me, it suits the car nicely. But what I don't understand is why the rear diffuser has been left out. It's almost like Ford have either run out of money or they've run out of black paint. That aside, we now have a decent soundtrack over the ST line. Let's have a listen.
And how can I forget this bold, obscure, optional paint colour? Ironically called Mean Green. I like it, Ford. Straight to the point. And I hate to say it, but I like the colour. And I know it's going to be very Marmite to many people. You're either going to love it or you're going to hate it. But for me, I love it. It really does make the Puma stand out even more so, especially with the aggressive styling that this car already carries. And yeah, I'm getting suckered, guys. I'm getting suckered in. But it was evident that Ford were going to produce a hot version of this car. It was just proof from the ST line. And yeah, the front is questionable even still. But, oh, I love it, guys. I really do. But, oh, I'm such a fool. I am such a fool. How can I be unbiased when I like the car and I haven't even driven it yet? The biggest change with the Puma ST has to be here, the powertrain department, where usually we see a 1 litre 3-cylinder EcoBoost engine that produces a maximum of 155 brake horsepower. Now lives a 1.5 litre 3-cylinder EcoBoost engine, codenamed the Dragon. Yes, what a name. And that is actually a true fact. If you don't believe me, look it up. And now we have 200 horsepower and 320 newton meters of torque. And being that the Puma is 100 kilograms more heavier than the Fiesta ST, Ford have actually sprinkled a little bit more torque on this engine. So yeah, helping the big guy out, as they say. Now, before I get carried away, let's bring it back down to earth and talk about the interior. Now, nothing has changed, which is a surprise. Not. It's definitely not a surprise because I knew it was coming. But the one thing that has changed in here is that they've added the ST Recaro seats from the Fiesta ST, mandatory for any performance Ford. Now, although the seats look great, they really do make it feel a little bit more ST-like in here. They're not the comfiest, they're really not. Now, they're not Recaro Club Sport level firmness, because them things are like sitting on boulders. I had them in my RS and they were horrible, absolutely horrible. Plus, they didn't have any heated functions in them, unlike these seats. But also the bolstering, I've got a real big bone to pick with it because I don't feel there's enough bolstering in these seats, especially in the Puma. It naturally has body roll, being a higher car, and going through high-speed corners, yeah, I struggle to stay still because I'm sort of like moving around all the time. But other than that, the Puma is a nice place to be. It is. It really is nice. Everything's, you've got all your mod cons in here. You've even got a heated steering wheel. Now, I never thought I'd have a heated steering wheel in a Ford. Times have changed so much. They really have. But yeah, nothing's really changed in here. Oh yeah, look, we've got some leather. Oh, whether it's real leather, I don't know.
The rear, as before, offers space for 2 adults or 3 children. Depending on your needs, either way, rear space isn't a luxury in this thing, more so for the taller individual. Now the Puma uses the beefier Recaros, they do protrude more into the rear space too. Yes, the greatest plague of all crossovers, the lack of practicality. Now, as much as I detest crossover SUVs for their lack of practicality in comparison to small hatchbacks, the Puma's boot really does impress me. It offers 456 litres, being one of the largest in class. In fact, it's 164 litres bigger than a Fiesta. And the practicality continues with a minimal loading lip and square shape, making it easier to fit luggage cases in. And of course, we can't forget the infamous Megabox, the all-singing, all-dancing, multi-purpose 80-litre bin with a removable drain plug hidden underneath the boot floor. For me, the Megabox alone wins back some points for the Puma in general. If I could meet the genius that designed this magnificence, they could happily give me their biggest body shot. Ford, if you're watching, clip this and find them.
Now we've got most of the mumbo jumbo out the way, we can now finally stretch the Puma's legs and see what it's really made of, because it's going to get off to a good start. Wow, I'm actually saying something positive. And the positivity begins with the engine. As I said, the biggest change to the Puma. Of course, in this ST, we have the Fiesta ST engine, the 1.5 litre 3-cylinder EcoBoost engine. And straight away, you forget that this is a small displacement engine, because not only is it refined for everyday normal driving, when you want to go into the twisties or find yourself a B road, this thing is absolutely sublime. And for me, I've had limited experience with these engines, but I have to say I am very impressed, especially for me coming from a Mark 7 ST. Yeah, they've managed to somehow finesse a smaller engine, fight EU emission regulations, and still make an engine that's, on paper, even faster than its predecessor. Wow, honestly. Ford claim that the Puma ST will do 6.7 to 0 to 60, which is pretty impressive. Pretty impressive, if I must say so myself. Especially when you think that this is really the only car in its class. So it hasn't really got anything to compete with. So Ford have been pretty clever on that one. Now, with an engine being so good, you've got to have a good drivetrain as well. Of course, this is front wheel drive only. No, don't let the looks deceive you. This is only front wheel drive, and the Puma only will come in front wheel drive. There is no all wheel drive solutions. But we also have a 6-speed manual gearbox just to keep that driver engagement there. And the gearbox is great, it really is. It's probably not the best Ford has ever created. It does feel notchy at times, but hey, you soon forget that with this peach of an engine. Now, during my time with the ST line, I did comment quite a bit on the suspension, yes, being on the firm side, because that car, although it had the styling to look like an ST, yeah, it didn't have the performance to match. So my argument was that it was a bit on the firm side. With the ST, however, it seems to be a lot better. I don't understand it, because this is meant to be a performance orientated car, but when you start picking up speed in this thing, the ride is actually pretty impressive. There isn't too much movement on the suspension side. Where you're in town, it does suffer. You do feel it a lot more due to that firm setup. But no, I'm very impressed, especially when you're putting it into its paces through B roads. It does handle it pretty well. Of course, this has a higher centre of gravity, meaning you're always going to get some sort of body roll. And this actually runs Michelin Pilot Sport 4S tyres, probably regarded as the best all-round tyre when it comes to summer and winter conditions. But I just feel that you can't really now put tyres into the equation. I just feel that because of the type of car this is and the application that Ford want from it, no matter what they do, I think they would struggle to make this car handle like it's on rails. They have said, however, that you can stiffen the car up, because that's what they've done. They've said that they've stiffened up the anti-roll bars and loads of other suspension components, even more so than the Fiesta ST. So yeah, technically this is meant to be a stiffer car than its little brother. But as I said before, even when you're pushing through high-speed corners, you definitely start to feel the push understeer and the body roll, and you just lose confidence in the car. And I feel that if I was in the Fiesta ST right now, I would be able to push a lot more confidently and have trust in the car. Saying that though, finding the limit is easy, and it makes the car more enjoyable, if that makes sense. Because 9 times out of 10, you're not going to be driving like a lunatic, especially on public roads. There's points that you want to have fun, and I think that the Puma can offer this. However, there are still so many problems with it, and I will explain later on in the video. But I want to have a little bit more of a positive note to this video, because I do get a lot of comments and feedback from you guys about why I hate the Puma so much. And it's not a hate, it's just in some areas, well, mostly in most, it doesn't make sense. It really doesn't. But at this time being, whilst I'm driving, it is a lovely car. The performance, the aggression, the ride, the handling is they're just so good. It is so good, and I can't fault it, I really can't. Puma offers many driving modes, just like its ST line brother. It offers eco mode, which you're never going to use in this car, let's be quite clear on that. But if you ever were, and you were in a spot of trouble with fuel, eco really dumbs down this car. It makes it so lazy, it almost feels like it's broken. And of course, in turn, it gives you better fuel economy and just helps your wallet pretty much. Then you've got normal, which this car defaults in, which is a very neutral mode, to be fair. It just allows you to enjoy the car commuting into work, and I've been doing that quite often, and it's been nice, it really has. Then you've got sport, which you can shortcut in the steering wheel with this little S button, and that is when the car comes to life, which I will do now. With a click of a button, it sharpens up the throttle. You can feel the car is more alert, it's ready to go, like a dog on heat. And honestly, it loves a roundabout, it really does. And with the Puma ST, as standard, it comes with the performance pack, which you should all know by now in the Fiesta ST. It gives you a mechanical diff and some other software tweaks like flat foot shifting, which I've been doing. And although flat foot shifting is a gimmick, it's a nice thing to have. And if you don't know what flat foot shifting is, it basically allows you to change gear without lifting off the throttle. And in sport mode, you have a shift indicator, so when the shift indicator comes up, you then flat foot shift, and you can go like a bat out of hell. Now Ford aren't done there, you've also got a racetrack mode, which pretty much says what it does on the tin. When you're on a track day, which I can't see anyone taking these on a track day, but if you do, pat on the back there, it turns everything off. It turns all the traction control stuff off, all the stability, so you can really rotate this car. Because there's no adjustable suspension, it doesn't really change the suspension at all. All it does is tweak the software stuff to make it a little bit even more engaging, but to be fair, sport mode is more than enough. So when you want to go from a calming, loving family man, just click the sport button and you can turn into an absolute lunatic. Yeah! Now, before I get carried away with how good this Puma ST is with this engine, the gearbox, the handling, there are some real big drawbacks to this thing. One of them being the steering. The steering is unbearable, just like it was in the ST line. And because this is a performance Ford, in my eyes, it's even worse. It feels so artificial. At times, there's like no feel whatsoever. During everyday driving, in town stuff, it feels great. Don't get me wrong, it does the job. But when you start giving it the task of fast B-road stuff, it really does struggle. And for me, I second guess every single thing that I do with this car. And it really does spoil the enjoyment at times, it really does. No matter how good the engine is and the gearbox, you just can't get away from the steering. It is the most important thing of a car, it really is. And even though this car has driving modes, it doesn't really change the steering weight. Well, I don't notice it anyway. It probably does, but in reality, I don't notice a difference whatsoever. And even more so when you consider the price. The price of this thing, this car that I'm sitting in at this time of filming, costs just near enough £31,000. Now, £31,000 is a lot of money, especially for a car that's based on the Fiesta. It really is. And speaking of the Fiesta, an ST3 with everything spec'd on it is pretty much 28 grand. I know even that is crazy, but that's a £3 saving over this car. A £3,000 saving for basically a car with a bigger boot. That is it. And put it this way, I could go into Honda and go and get an FKA Civic Type R facelifted for the same money and get a car that's got 120 brake horsepower more, a better car to drive and live with, and an all-rounder. It's got practicality everywhere, the rear seats and the boot, all for the same money. That is absolutely insane. The mind really does boggle. But if you're prepared to part with £31,000 of your hard-earned cash, get out when the sun's out. You really can enjoy this car. You really can. You're mad, but at least you've got a fun car to drive. Why? This really does go some. It really does.
This thing is a serious head scratcher. Yeah, more than ever before. On one hand, it's an interesting proposition. It seems that Ford have cornered the crossover market against all its rivals, And now that they've added performance and aggression into the mix, I think that the rivals don't stand a chance. However, on the other hand, there are two looming issues: the price and the lack of practicality. I know it offers great performance, but for me, it just trails behind its little brother, the Fiesta ST. And before I go, I'm not going to let this beat me, because I've let far too many crossovers beat me in my time. So I'm going to leave it up to you guys in the comments below to tell me whether you'd have this over an FK8 Civic Type R. Yeah, you didn't see that coming, did you? I told you I'm not getting beaten this time. So yeah, fire away. I'm here all day. But until next time, guys, thanks for watching. Please do like, subscribe, and as I said, comment down below on what you thought of today's video. It's definitely brightened up my day, and I'd like to thank Ford UK again for the opportunity on reviewing their cars. Until next time, guys, I'll see you all soon. Goodbye. I told you, you big green lean machine, you're not beating me this time. No way. Loser! Loser! Ha ha ha!